Yeah, Nirbhay, you might have received the request now. Yeah, I'll send the invite again. Yeah, you can just click on that link and we'll get added on this. It'll take a couple of seconds to load. Yeah, I can see that you've joined, but I've sent the invite to you. Okay, it's written as unable. It somehow shows me that, yeah, sure. Yeah. Hi, Nirbhay, how are you?
I'm good, Neha. Thank you. How about you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much. I hope that you've recovered now and you're doing good. Last week we couldn't connect, and so glad to finally have you.
Thanks, Neha. Thanks. Apologies for not making the other day. All well now. So I thought maybe we could do today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for your time. So we'll officially get started. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the episode 2 of High on Impact, a podcast series that captures insights from CSR leaders, CSO founders, impact leaders, impact investors, philanthropists, of course, grassroots NGOs, and much more. What is the idea behind High on Impact? We are looking at exploring the challenges of the social sector together and encouraging networking and collaboration. Today, we have a very special guest with us, Mr. Nirbhay Lumde. He's the Senior VP of ESG at Prestige Group, having over 2 decades of experience driving sustainability and positive change. He's also an alumnus of IIT Bombay and holds international certifications across the Imper Business School London, Cornell University, and the Wharton School, University of Pennsylvania. His contribution in sustainability has also earned him various leadership awards. He's a two-time published author and has also co-authored an Ivy Business case study on employer branding through purpose-driven CSR. Hi, Nirbhay. Welcome to NGO Story.
Thank you, Neha. Thanks for those kind words.
It is wonderful to have you here. To set the context, Nirbhay, so, we know about Prestige Group that right from residential properties to commercial spaces, Prestige strives to reduce its carbon footprint and, giving back to the environment. So can you share an overview of Prestige's ESG and sustainability initiatives?
Sure, Neha. Thanks. Hi, everyone. Very good morning. I hope you had a great start of the day. Yeah, I'll begin with Prestige, not so much into business, but largely what we really do in terms of the ESG parameters. ESG largely stands for environmental, social, and governance. Largely, those of you are for the first time hearing or listening to the ESG conversation. ESG largely is when you look at any company, any profit-making company, largely we look at only the financial numbers. But today, in the world of where we really need to have bigger things, when you really want to establish bigger things, you need to have much broader things needs to be done. So therefore, ESG plays a bigger role, being more transparent for sure in terms of what we do with respect to environmental. That's about emissions, because being in construction industry, we do have footprint, the carbon footprint for sure, and there's an usage of water and the other material that we use in terms of cement and steel. And social, it's all not just about the corporate social responsibility, about giving back to communities where we live and work, but social responsibility also includes how we really treat our own employees. How do we look at the gender parity, pay parity? How do we look at inclusion at workplace? Do we really care about employee health and well-being? And with respect to governance, it's all about how do we look at the entire governance of the company itself while we make profits. How do we really make profits, and what systems and processes are in place ensuring that we have got various policies to safeguard companies from a long-term point of view. That really stands for ESG. Quickly summarizing what we really do with respect to ESG, we are really conscious about our carbon footprints in the construction as well as in our operations. Very proud to share that we up to 90% of our the commercial buildings are powered by renewable energy. And yes, we are looking at opportunities to how do we really go towards maybe looking at maybe 100% going forward in the future for sure. We do recycle material, and then we also have systems and process in place to having about up to 60% of our material is sourced sustainably. That means we have got systems where we really source from where the systems are really tested and tried in terms of sustainable practices. The vendors have the sustainable practices when we really source the material. That's largely about environment. We are extremely conscious about our water usage. We look at how do we really usage of water in terms of the construction practices. We do look at water recharges, aquifers where we have got properties. We do that very, very clearly and consciously. In fact, in the properties where you got saplings, we really do on a big scale. Those of you own a prestige property or those of you see prestige properties, we really have the landscaping as one of the priorities for us, and we do really great care of the plants that we really put it, and we also take care of the nurseries that we have. That's about environmental. With respect to the social, we care for the not only communities where we do really great work, where we have got offices and where we have got properties. We also work in the area of Northeast where we are supporting education on a large scale. So while we do that, I'm sure those of you who are in Bangalore would have noticed that we do take care of some of the roads and common properties in the CBD, Central Business District as well. And when it comes to governance, we have got a good, strong governance in place, a good gender ratio that's really in place, and we really take care in terms of the whistleblower code of ethics extremely well. And our board members are trained very well in terms of managing the company. That really not only makes profits, but also profits makes with a purpose. In fact, the upcoming annual report, which will be very, very interesting with respect to ESG. Those of you are for the first time hearing about Prestige, we do have an quarterly magazine called Falcon News. You'll get to know and get to hear lots of stories around the green initiatives and sustainable initiatives that we do as a company. I'll pause here, Neha. I'll be more than happy to address very specific. It might sound very, very serious for the audience, the other side, but we'll be more than happy to add more.
Thank you so much, Nirbhay. Was to speak at length about the ESG and the initiatives what Prestige is into. And one point I would like to ask you here that the unprecedented urbanization that has led to so many challenges in major cities and beyond. So, what are the sustainability practices what Prestige is doing at this point of time, to combat those challenges? Would be great to know more about that as well.
Sure, Neha. I think I would not say that rampant urbanization is not a reality. It is a reality for sure.
Yeah.
And all of us are going through the phase of it. And especially when you've got clustered cities and you've got cities that have really lopsided in terms of the development, I guess this challenge is going to be there for sure. And given that the country that we are, while we say that it's diversified, but also has quite amount of urbanization happening to the pockets of in a city or otherwise to the regions of the country. So there are three, four things that we really do when we really build from the construction point of view itself. We are extremely conscious with respect to what we really do in terms of the C&D waste. We call it construction, the debris waste that we really talk about. We ensure that it is properly disposed or else we recycle. That's one thing that we really ensure that's really taken care of it. The second big thing that we do is we follow the T in terms of when it respect to the compliance, especially environment and climate. We're extremely cautious. And any property that we have, we ensure that there is maximum to extent that we have the green spaces, lung spaces that are there within the residential and within the commercial spaces for sure. We build water recharging pits, aquifers where we are we, any runoff from the rainwater is held back and recharged to the ground. That's something that we do diligently. And then in terms of uh, residential properties, just to make the point here, we do have something called dual plumbing, where you have got recycled water is used for your the sanitation purposes and the plantation and the taking care of the gardening, and whereas the water that's been used for the kitchen and other purpose used done very differently. You've got dual plumbing in place for sure. We are also doing IoT in place, ensuring that water meters has been used and then that's been taken care. Very proud to share that in residential properties we do have RE, that's renewable energy solar largely. The pathways and common places are being powered by solar energy.
Thank you so much.
And I'll
I've been an
add
ardent
one more
fan.
thing in the commercial properties where we have those of you would have visited some of the properties. Largely, some of these are powered by electrical buggies. So, ICE vehicles you do not see that are applied by Prestige for the purpose of local commute within those commercial properties. When I say commercial
Correct.
properties, these are tech parks that I'm referring to.
Yeah, the tech parks. I mean, personally, I've been an ardent fan of prestige property. Ever since I've moved to Bangalore, I mean, I have been residing in one, have got the opportunity to experience both residential and commercial. Recently moved to a total environment property. But yeah, I mean, have been a big fan of the prestige, the infra what they provide and the green living promotion, right? So Nirbhay, any success stories of projects, that have significantly advanced your sustainability goals, what you would like to cite here?
Yeah,
So it would be great to know about, some success snippets.
yeah. In terms of success achievement, I would say that there are a couple of things that really come to my mind for sure. One is for sure, I'm sure Neha, as you spoke about it, Prestige, we really care about the immediate surroundings. So typically, the saplings that in terms of the landscaping, we really take care of the surroundings, and especially when it comes to residential. The one of the success stories that I'll talk about in the commercial properties about moving from the thermal energy to renewable energy is one of the biggest success stories that I really speak about it, which I'm really proud of it because that's something that it really needs commitment as well as required investment to meet the commitment. So therefore, that's really proud moment for us. While I'm not party to that story because I'm pretty new here, so therefore I would not say that it's my story, but I would say that for sure. Second, I would say that we are extremely conscious about LEED certification, saying that our buildings have to have the LEED certificate in terms of the green energy, in terms of the green certification. Very, very proud to share that while we have a good amount of properties that have been LEED certified, in the future we are going to build everything that has to be have to have a LEED certification for sure. That's about the commercial. Now I'll talk about little a bit on the social part of it, where we really work with respect to people. We have been running a program with Sunbird Trust, with Prestige Foundation as well in Northeast. It's largely disturbed region. We have been working for quite a number of years where we are helping children, looking at how do we really elevate them in terms of having a basic schooling and helping them with equal opportunity for them to really grow big in their lives. That's something that I really proud in terms of the human resources that we really provide support and scaffolding so that they come to the mainstream and they really make big. In fact, we have got case studies working in the Northeast. We have got children who had difficulty in going to a primary school today pursuing higher education in
Right.
European universities and American universities. Then you have got students coming all the way to the from Northeast to studying in mainstream southern and northern Indian states to pursuing their higher education. So some of these stories are really exemplifies what we really care to the communities. I'm sure as we progress the next couple of weeks, I'm sure you'll hear more about family. About I do not want to disclose more because the annual report is something is going to be get out, and I'm sure those of you are really keen about hearing about our stories in sustainability. Do log into something called prestige.com/ESG. We have a sustainability report that is available, and you've got 120 pages of insightful information what we really care about environment. Not environment, it's all about social as well and governance practices.
Right, Nirbhay. Thank you so much for sharing these success stories. I'm sure that with you being a part of the organization, we will see more of those at Prestige. So, coming back to a question which is like very important for our target audience. So, at NGO Story, we have most of the TG being the grassroots NGOs. So if I talk about the non-profits whose thematic area or let's say the focus area is into sustainability. So what they can do to make their project CSR ready. So you as a CSR, what you would like to suggest the non-profits into sustainability that, these are the parameters or this is how the report should look like. This is how the approach should be in terms of making their projects more CSR ready.
Yeah, thanks, Naya. I think I'll segue this into maybe three parts, three smaller portions. One for sure, I think great. Really appreciate a good amount of people really taking that pain instead of picking up an commercial or a for-profit entity, looking into an not-for-profit, and then saying that hey, let us together make a difference. I think that's a bold. I would say that going beyond their personal limits and want to really change the world. I really appreciate that. However, I keep saying this in my conversation, saying that it's not just about doing good, but your doing good also needs to be spoken. And Neha, thanks for such platforms where really good work needs to be spoken, needs to be shared, and needs to be applauded or appreciated. It's really, really important. Today, unfortunately, we feel that good work really gets attention. I would say no. Good work really needs to be spoken. So, therefore, the first priority, I think, if you are a registered entity, ensure that you're speaking, you've got a nice social media platform. It could be anything. I'm not denying that it could be an Insta versus anything else, but largely any platform that you have, start speaking about your initiative with a larger world. That's number one.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, while you speak, you cannot speak unless you have done something really good or something that really impactful. Do not be modest. Unfortunately, this world is such that we have been from childhood said that no, what, be modest in your approach, saying that no, don't be boastful. I'm not saying that he ought to be boastful. Don't be modest, but speak about your successes. These could be small successes, these could be bigger successes at a large scale that you're, it could be deep dive, it could be broad based. So therefore, first and foremost, it's really important that you have got a platform and you share what you have been doing. The second, ensure that you have got a website that really has some updates, and ensure that your website has embedded social media handles there. So therefore, anyone who comes to your website visits has some of this information readily accessible, can comment, view, and read about it. That's the second thing that I'll speak about. Third, your website needs to be have and appended with an annual reports, or could be quarterly reports, which is really critical for those of you who are in NGOs, smaller NGOs. You may be wondering, hey, how do we really do that when we have got smaller NGOs and we do not have wherewithal our resources to manage some of those? I keep saying that maybe something that I've really cracked through. Uh, it's the simplest thing in life I felt is about writing. Lot many people say that writing is a very difficult task. I always felt writing is the simplest task. It's all about start keying in if you got a laptop. If you've got mobile, it's all about writing it. Today, if you're good at speaking, you've got speech to text apps. You don't even need apps nowadays. You just need to start and someone types for you. So therefore, start writing about it. And writing should be part of at least 30% of your job, wherever you are, start writing about it. So therefore, it's really critical that you do good work and start speaking and start communicating what we have been doing. The second foremost is about networking. A good amount of you might disagree with me. Networking is equally important when it comes to populating and building your systems, especially when it's about building, going beyond your immediate geographies. So build network. These networks will be built over social media. It could be about showcasing your work. It could be about showcasing your work with other corporates or other NGO leaders. That's the second one. The third, which really I really get a little claustrophobic when I hear about people, it's about collaboration. I know the NGO world is highly competitive. We are all struggling with funding. Be willing to collaborate with other like-minded NGOs. I would say that 1 plus 1 with corporate CSR NGO world is not 2, but it's 11. So therefore, ensure that you are willing to collaborate. Now, the last big thing is about the something that I really want to vehemently say about is about ensure that whatever that you are saying is genuinely right. You are more transparent. Communicate what has been done. Do not sensationalize because you are working with something called sustainable development goals. Sustainable development goals really take hell lot of time to make really change happen. We in fact say that when it comes to human development index, we say that it takes about a generation effort to really change, to make it happen and change to sustain over the time. So therefore, do not sensationalize. But do not be modest in terms of speaking about the change that you are bringing in the societies where you are working.
Right, absolutely, Nirbhay. Some really relevant points here for our nonprofits. I'm sure they will benefit from it. Just to summarize, guys, it is very important to talk about your work. Leverage platforms through which you can talk about your work, you can talk about initiatives. Do not be modest. It is important to come up front and also speak about what you are doing. Believe in networking. We always undermine the power of networking, collaboration. Please believe in that. In our sector, unfortunately, we look at each other as competitors. We should not be looking at each other as competitors. If there is something what the other nonprofit has, why do you have to reinvent the wheel? Why not to collaborate and do something together there? So, some very relevant points here. So, Nirbhay, when we talk about networking and collaboration, we keep speaking about, 1 and 1 is 11, 1 plus 1 is not 2, rather 11, the power of unity together. So, what do you say that, in your organization, or let's say in your approach, what role has collaboration or partnership played in terms of accelerating projects or seeing more success in your sustainability projects?
Yeah. So Neha, I think collaboration. I'll give an example today. Maybe I'll not give cite something from very specific where right now I am, but I'll give my from my previous experiences. Today, uh, collaboration is extremely powerful. Today, you have got a corporate who gives you funds. You as an NGO got where we are in terms of the resources and technology, or the technical platform where you really want to can work together. But however, when you really work with collaboration, do not look just in terms of the financial resources. There are other resources that they really bring in. Those of you who are online here, you should be able to work. Look at it, something called aim.gov.in. That's something that I really worked with them. It's a government of India's innovation portal where they really drive at a large scale. In my previous avatars, we could deploy a chatbot. This is so it was an NGO intermediary. We have my previous company coming with a resources technology. Then you have a government portal where we deployed a chatbot called it's called InnoBot, where about 1.1 crore children are able to get their STEM queries addressed. That's a power of collaboration. So imagine if I'm as a corporate, if I want to reach 1.1 crore or maybe 11 million children, how do I reach it? It's humanly not possible for me to really build that kind of a base. Today, with the power, with the collaboration, I'm able to reach that scale. So that's a scale of opportunity that really brings you opportunity to really work together. And of course, my previous I did work with various initiatives, including plantation drives to looking at how do we really get rid of plastics. In fact, one of the programs that I we funded is about we were taking today. You only hear about urban segregation of waste. We were doing something. We picked up one rural constituency to ensure that the entire constituency is plastic free, and they segregate waste at home, and this is running at a big scale. So why should anything that why only we call about smart cities? Why can't we call about smart villages or smart constituencies today? So therefore, some of these are possible, and some of these case stories do pick it up in terms of when you really do at a scale. So therefore, collaborations give you opportunity to scale your POCs, the proof of concept that you're doing at pilot scale. So it's essential that you really work together. And of course, there's always a nagging feeling saying that hey, I'm a small NGO, I only have 50 children, 100 children. When we are not able to solve a smaller problem, how are you looking at scaling? I think we need to have a fine balance between what you really do at depth and what you really do at a broad scale. When I say broad scale, is about reaching the big numbers, and depth is all about doing at something that really requires. For example, I'll give you an example. If you really want to work with mental health or children with special needs, it has to be depth. You cannot scale such things. Assume that we are working with maybe lake rejuvenation or plantation drive or plastic free campaign or could be waste segregation. These have to happen at a large scale. Then only the impact is felt. So there's a fine
Correct.
balance. And especially when you're as an NGO partners, you're looking at talking to corporates, they might tell you say that hey, here's we are looking at. So there is some methodology to the madness that they're speaking about it. So do not undermine corporates. Today, corporate leaders do understand theory of change. They also understand bit of human development index for sure. I'm not say bit, they do understand. So therefore, give that credit to them, and they are willing to listen to you. And I'm sure you can also bring in the knowledge that you already have working in the grassroots.
Correct. Thank you so much, Nirbhay, for saying that. And I can see one or two comments there, saying that support each other's NGOs. Yes, guys, it is very important to collaborate, to network, to support each other's work. Only then we can create the large scale impact. So, Nirbhay, you've written a couple of books talking about, the CSR in India, the career success strategies for people in the CSR domain. So, any tips for upcoming professionals who are looking at pursue a career in the CSR domain, what you would like to share?
Yeah. Uh, so one of the reasons why did I write about what I went through it, a good number of them, a few or who are listening to now or maybe listening to later, do look at my LinkedIn profile. Say a pretty good of them must be feeling say that hey, I did plan my career. To some extent, I did plan my career from where I did begin to where I am today. So there is certain amount of planning for sure is required. A good amount of in terms of skilling is required. I would say that those of you maybe from technology background would say that hey, you need to skill yourself, upskill, reskill, maybe unskill. There are various phases that we really use in terms of skilling and reskilling, unskilling. I think I went through that journey, so I was willing to really learn. be it when I was with a not-for-profit to where I was with managing corporate affairs to CSR to ESG journey. I learned over the time. Neha, when you read about my someone certification program, these are the real investment that I made over the time. These have not come because the way others have 24 hours, I do have a 24 hours time in learning. I do have a family, then I have a 9 hours or 10 hours of job that I really do it. So therefore, it's really important for you have to be a constant learner for sure. Now I'll talk about why did I write. When I was looking the CSR space or the ESG space, you do not have much written about what really goes through in the corporate world. You have annual reports largely written. You might not have understanding of what really goes there. Second, you have academicians writing about theory of change largely. But corporate world is all about doing it, being in an office and getting things done. These dynamics are very, very differently when you look at an corporate world, when you look at an academic world. So I felt there is a gap and there's gap going to be there. So I felt my own thought processes, my own experiences, let me put down my thoughts. I have written something there. That was my first book. I gave some ideas about how to, if someone, a progressive leader from a corporate wants to really move to CSR or otherwise, what opportunities that they have. So that was my first book. Second book was largely around because CSR in India has been now 10 years. And today's CSR leaders really need to really learn what next of them. CSR over the 10 years, I think we have reached a maturity stage. We need to really pick up those things. So I felt CSR leads who have daily done CSR over the last 10 years need to pick up this next step of, need to step up themselves and look at ESG as a priority. While they're working CSR as a priority, part of their social engagement of a corporate, they have to really pick up the ESG as a larger piece and then start working it. So therefore, my idea was to bring in those learnings and looking at CSR leading to ESG, what really goes into ESG with my experience about net zero. We keep hearing about net zero, and then I brought in some case studies from global annual reports, and then I brought in good corporates in India really doing good work with their annual reports. So it's more of on my own personal experiences.
Right.
For a corporate leader, how do they really enrich? As an individual, if you're an NGO, how do you really take up the journey to a corporate? Or if you're a CSR leader, how do you really elevate yourself to an ESG leader?
Very true, Nirbhay.
I'll
So,
continue to
as
write
you
for
rightly
sure.
said, right. So, as you rightly said, I mean, all of us, we have 24 hours in a day, right? I mean, if we really want to accomplish something, we have to put efforts, be a continuous learner, keep doing research in this particular field. So, let's say if someone wants to pursue a career in CSR, there are so many platforms through which one can learn, upgrade their skills, and, be a part of the ecosystem slowly, gradually. So, one question, Nirbhay, which many NGO founders, had asked me that, we go for networking events, we go, to such forums wherein CSR leaders are there. Let's say, there are a couple of sessions being conducted by them. The minute it is conducted, they go away. They do not wait to network with the non-profit founders. So the question they asked was that, we as an NGO, we are investing in terms of buying the tickets, right? We are investing in terms of, being a part of this particular event. So what could be the right platform on which NGO founders can network with CSRs? I'm not saying that, they are pitching their projects outright, but at least, getting that little bit of quality time, wherein the CSRs are, giving a ear to them in terms of networking with them. So what do you suggest, could be such similar forums?
Yeah, so I have a very different of opinion when it comes to these forums. These forums are not meant for fundraising. Let me make it very clear. Uh, in my past, maybe 14, 15 years of experience of this part of the world, when we exchange our visiting cards, I hardly hear from my NGO partners. It's other way around also. It's true. I hardly hear from them say that hey, we really met there and this is what I want to write and want to speak about. Unfortunately, we look at it more like a fundraising event. It's not a networking and connecting with each other. It's really important that you have been to some of these events. Ensure that you write back to a CSR leader. Do not look at money or fundraising as an opportunity here. I'll tell you, if you're able to build a good rapport and if you're able to tell your story, fund will flow automatically. You need not do any effort. That's one. Second, I think all of us need to really look at reinvent these forums itself. What are we speaking about when we are meeting some of the CSR leaders? Did we do any research before meeting some of these CSR leaders? Did you look at their CSR programs? What alignments? I think when I look at some of those things, you need when you're going meeting in a forum for about 50 people, I can watch that saying that at least 50% of the CSR leaders you need not necessarily meet because there is absolutely no alignment whatsoever. So you need to be very target. You have to be specific in targeting which are the leaders that you really want to meet and what you really want to speak about it. Once the meeting gets over, I think it's your prerogative. Go back and write to them. Get connected on Insta, not Insta necessarily. Could be anything. Could be LinkedIn is the right platform. Talk about it, and then I think it's also important for you to understand saying that CSR leaders, those who have met, need not necessarily be decision makers. We all work more like we are more like collaborators with our internal stakeholders. If I hear from an NGO saying that there's a brilliant project that is there, I need to go back to my board of governance, talk to them. Hey, so basically, I'm doing a selling on your behalf. When I say on your behalf, it's our NGO. That would really take time. It's not going to be saying that, hey, Nirbhay says, no, let's go work with a CSR project, and then my governance says, let's go and work with it. It's not going to work that way. So there are things that we need to figure it out. Who are your current partners? What alignment that we have, and then we work together about it.
Sure, Nirbhay. Thank you so much. These are some really helpful points here. So, if we could start with a rapid fire, if we have time for it, just last 5 minutes. Can we do that? That's going to be a fun part. Do we have time? Just 2 or 3 questions.
Yeah, I can take maybe one or two. I need to rush
Okay,
for
all
somewhere
right.
else.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. We completely understand that. So, if you could have dinner with any celebrity, Nirbhay, who that celebrity would be and why? Quick 10
Oh my
seconds.
God, that's a toughest thing to answer because I am not so much about celebrity. Uh, yeah, maybe any of the one environmentalist is something that I would love to spend time. Not so much of a dinner or a lunch or something, but I would like to spend it a week's long time for sure. It could be semi-arid or arid regions. That's something that I watch for it for sure because I want to learn for sure,
All right, quick
especially a
second
piece of
question.
environment.
Sure. So, what is your favorite childhood memory and why?
My childhood memories from my hometown where I come from, called Adilabad in Telangana region. And in my childhood, we used to travel through the bus through ghats, and we used to have a canopy of forest. We never used to see the sun rays, and we used to pass through the dark within the forest cover. And today I really miss that. Today roads are wide, but you don't get to see those experiences.
Right. Oh, wow. This is beautiful. I'd actually started to imagine. Okay. So, what is your go-to karaoke song? This is the last one. Your go-to karaoke song. Maybe 1 or 2 lines if you would like to. In
Oh
your
my
lingo,
God, that's
in
you caught me on a
anything,
wrong.
whatever you feel.
Uh, oh my God, that's so tough to. Maybe anything from the Swadesh movie. I think that's something I really like.
Could you sing a line if that is
Oh my God,
possible?
that's tough. I'm
All
bad with
right.
it. So
Okay.
sorry.
No worries. No worries. All right. Thank you so much for your time, Nirbhay. I'm sure, I mean, you had taken out your time. I mean, you're such valuable time to be here on this platform with us. So thank you so much for this. And, wishing you all the best in the initiatives, what you're pursuing. And we are looking forward to, some of the nonprofits to see working with you in the future. So thank you so much
Sure.
for that.
Thanks, Neha, for the platform. Bye.
Thank you so much. Have a great day. And I'm going to see you guys soon with the episode 3 of High on Impact. Take care, guys. Bye bye.